So class is nothing but a class is a collection of variables and methods, generally we can say. And like for whenever we are starting a class or creating a class, at that time we need to give the class name. First letter must be in capital case. Okay. So generally the people will ask like what is a class? A class is a collection of variables and methods is called class, or we can say a class is a blueprint. A class is a blueprint. Like that we need to say what is a class. Generally they ask, we need to say like a class is a collection of variables and methods, or class is a blueprint, we can say. Okay. The class, in the class, the class name must be start with capital letter. Okay. And inside that class we have a main method that is called a public static void main string args. So public static void main string args is nothing but like public is an access modifier. Public static void main string args. Public is an access modifier. Static is a keyword. Void is a return type. Main is a main method. String and args are parameters. Okay. So string is a predefined class. Generally, we have in java.lang package, and like system.out.println is a print statement generally we use. So inside that, system is a predefined class, out is a reference, and println is a method. Okay. So this is the main method generally we have. So in the interview, they will ask like, can you explain me about public static void main string args like that? So you need to explain about like public is a class, public is a access modifier, static is a keyword, void is a return type, main is a main method, string and args are parameters, string is a predefined class, arg is a parameter name or variable name, you can say it. And you can observe, can anyone observe in the args we have defined array. Okay, array operator in the sense whenever we are running the class, so at that time it will take the values in the array format. Generally we are not passing any parameters, but generally we can pass. So that's why we have written an array over there. Okay. And one more thing, you can able to see this class program. So here in the below, we have written something. Okay. That is nothing but object. So object is nothing but it is a class is a blueprint, right? Object, we can say it is an execution of the class, Okay. So for example, we have a land. So we have a blueprint, but whenever we are constructing the home, at that time the construction is considered as a object. Constructor is considered as a object. Okay, are you getting right? Object in the sense execution of that particular blueprint is called object, we can say. Okay, we have a syntax to create a object. That is nothing but the syntax is like class name object reference equals to new class name of. Okay. So like this generally we have a right. Just keep in mind like how we need to declare a object and all. Okay. So object is nothing but instance of a class is called object. The syntax for object is like class name object reference equals to new class name of generally. Okay. So like this we will write the object. The example is like we have a class called a test obj equals to new test of, like that we are saying. Going forward, you will able to understand like how, why we are writing all these things. Okay. Just keep in mind like how we need to declare the object and all. Okay. Is it clear so far? Like what is a class, what is the main method, and what is the object?
Farooq, is the object, what type of data type we need to give?
So class name, actually in the object, generally what kind of class name we are giving? Like we are giving user defined data type. User defined data type in the sense we are giving the class name, right? Generally earlier we discussed about primitive data type and reference data type. Primitive data type is predefined data type. And when it comes to like user data defined data type, we are creating the classes, objects, array, string is user defined data type. So like that we are giving like user defined data type, that is nothing but class name. Class name, we need to give a object reference. Object reference we can consider it as a variable, and equals to new, we need to must write whenever we are creating an object. And we are creating one like constructor, that is like class name of. So this is like this we will write. Okay. So the object, generally we going forward we will discuss about object in detail. Is it clear so far? Is there any doubts? Class, method and object.
Farooq, it can be different from class name, object.
Yeah. Actually, we can define according our class name generally. For example, there is a test, so we are giving test. If in case we have like example class, so what we will do is like example ex equals to new example of, like that we will give generally.
Okay. So we can keep, I'm asking like can we keep like different names?
Actually, we cannot keep different name. We need to follow the class name. We need to write with the class name only while we are creating the object, because the class is a blueprint, right? So using that name, we'll create that object and we will access inside the like variables or methods generally. For example, let's consider a capsule. So capsule, we can say capsule one. So inside that we have like generally we have medicines, right? Medicinal small particles. Okay. So for that, like we can consider it as variables and methods. So whenever I want to access in that, we need to open that capsule and we need to take that one, right? Like that we need to do. Going forward, you can easily understand.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Is there any doubts? Can I move to the next slide? Okay, please keep in mind like object, because the object is most important. So whenever we are creating the class, so we need to create an object. So for that object, we need to write like a class name object reference equals to new class name of. It is a most important. Okay, the object is nothing but instance of a class. Okay, so yeah. So we will go for the types of variables. Okay, generally in Java we have like three types of variables. One is like a local variable, instance variable, and static variable or class variable, we can say. Okay, so this one is also major important, like when we are using the Selenium library, or when we are using the like local methods. Generally we have methods. So this is the major basic you need to understand. If you have any doubts, please ask. No need to hesitate. Okay. So local variable in the sense like generally we have three types of variables. One is like instance variable, static variable, and local variable. Local variable. So instance variable, local variable is nothing but a variable which is defined inside the main method is called a local variable. Okay, a variable which is defined inside the main method is called local variable. So let's see a simple example. So for example, I have defined a class demo. Okay. And can anyone tell me how to write a main method?
Public static void main.
Public static void main string args. Okay.
Yeah.
Args. Okay. So once we have written, so whenever we are defining the variable inside the method, we'll consider it as local variable. We consider it as local variable. Okay, local variable. So this is a local variable. Generally, a variable which is defined inside the main method is called a local variable, and we can access this local variable directly. We can access this local variable directly. Okay, so how we can access this local variable directly? Just what we are doing is like we are giving the name as A. Okay, directly we are calling. Okay, and one more thing, this local variable we cannot access outside the main method, or outside the main method or outside the method. Okay, once you declare a variable within the method, you can access within the method only. We cannot access outside the method. Okay, and one more thing. So if in case I have declared a variable, but I have not initialized any value, so at that time it will give a error. It will give a compile time error. That is like, please initialize a variable. Please initialize a value for this variable. Okay, it will tell like this, please initialize a value for this variable. Please initialize a variable, please initialize a value for this variable, like that it will tell. Okay, are you getting right? So let's see the example. Yeah. So once what we need to do is like we need to write a main method that is like public static void main string args. So once we have written, let's see first example. So what I am doing is like I have declared a variable in C and I am printing like system.out.println. I want to print C value. Okay, generally earlier we discussed about the default values of integer is 0. Okay, because we discussed about that, right? Default value of integer is 0 and the float value is like 0.0f. Okay, and character value is null and the default value of boolean is false. These all things we have discussed. Okay, I'm saving this code. So you can able to see here we are getting an error. The local variable C may not be initialized. Are you getting right? Local variable C may not be initialized because whenever you are declaring a variable, whenever you are declared a variable, so at that time what will happen is like, so it will ask like you need to initialize because it will give an error. Are you getting right? This is a major important point.
Yes.
So yeah, whenever we are declaring a variable within the method or main method, what we need to do is like we need to initialize that particular variable, or otherwise we will get an error. So let's see, I have given a value 0 and let's run this code. It will this code will run. It will give a value 0. Okay, and one more thing we have discussed is like, here the local variable we cannot access with it, like local variable we can access directly. So you can able to see the value which I access it directly, just I am passing that particular name. Okay, and one more thing we discussed, like local variable we cannot access outside the main method or outside the method. Okay, so just I want to print this C value. I want to print this C value. I think without main method we cannot write system.out.println. Okay, what I will do is like I will declare a block. Going forward we will discuss about this block as well. Okay, so I want to print this C value. Okay, you can able to see this like create a C variable, create a C variable. So you can able to see, okay, because like we cannot access outside the main method or method the local variable. Okay, so the 3 points, like a variable which is defined within a variable which is defined inside the main method is called a local variable, and local variable must be initialized, and local variable we cannot access outside the main method or method, and we can access the local variable with we can access local variable directly. Are you getting right these 4 points?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the major important thing. And one more thing we can consider whenever we are writing a variable within the main method, we can consider it as a local variable, and also we can consider this one as also local variable. Okay, because the scope is within the main method only, within the main method only. Okay, we can say this one is also a local variable, and this one is also a local variable. Okay, are you getting right? Because we cannot access outside the method. Okay, the first point is like point 1, a variable which is defined with in the main method or methods or method or different method, main method or different method is called local variable. Point 2, local variable must be initialized. Okay, next one, like we cannot access local variable outside the method. Okay, fourth point is like we can access local variable directly. We can access local variable directly. Are you getting right all these 4 points?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so these are the important points we need to keep in mind. Okay, and like this generally we will do like we will directly call the local variable like this we can call the local variable, okay, directly. And one more point I missed, that is like local variable stored in stack area. This is the memory location. No need to worry about it. Going forward, we will discuss about what are the memory locations we have. Okay, local variable store in the stack area. Okay, which is the part of JVM, generally stack area. No need to worry about it. Okay, going forward, we will discuss. Is it clear? Local variable.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll discuss about instance variable. So this is the most important, like coming instance variable and static variable are the most important things we need to concentrate more on that. Okay, so like instance variable is nothing but a variable which is defined. A variable which is defined, a member of a class is called instance variable. There is a two ways to access instance variable. One is like object, another one is like object reference. Object, another one is like object reference. Okay, and instance variable stored in heap area. Okay, and we can access these instance variable using object and object reference. Okay, see here we have an example for object. Generally, like we are creating a class and we are declaring an instance variable. Okay, and once we declare that instance variable, what we are doing is like we are creating an object. Okay, we are creating an object for this, like test obj equals to new test of, and what we are doing is like using the object reference obj dot count. Okay, we are calling this variable. Or another way, we have like new test of dot count. New test of dot count. Generally we will do. Okay, let's see in detail. So the first point is like in the instance variable, a variable which is defined within the class is called instance variable. Okay, instance variable. Okay, point 2, there are two ways to access instance variable. Okay, instance variable. One is object, another one is like object reference. Okay, and third point, which is stored in the heap area, okay, or we can say which is stored in the method area, class area or method area. Okay, which is stored in the heap area. Okay, and yeah, let's see the examples so you can able to understand. So now onwards we need to do like more things here. First of all, I'm creating a class name is demo, and I'm declaring a variable that is called instance variable. Generally we declare an instance variable here, int like test case count, int test case count equals to 10. Okay, and I'm writing like public static void main string args. Okay, and here public static void main string args. Now I want to access this particular variable. So we have it two ways. One is like object reference, one is like object, another one is like object reference. Okay, so first of all we will create a object reference in the sense, first of all we need to create a object. So what is the syntax for creating an object? Syntax for creating object is like class name, class name object reference equals to new class name of. Okay, class name object reference equals to new class name of. Generally the people say this as object reference or a variable name. Okay, like this they will ask. Okay, no need to worry about it. some people say attribute, some people say different things, like we need to consider it as an object reference or variable name, we can say. So using this object reference, what we need to do is like we need to call that particular variable system dot out dot println, system dot out dot println obj dot test case count, obj dot test case count. Generally we write like this. Okay, this is the way to call the object variable is like object reference, okay. So let's consider this is a class. Okay, sorry, for example, we can consider this is a plan. Okay, we have a plan. So what we are doing is like we are starting the execution. So inside that class, what we have a variables. Okay, and we have a methods. So for this, what we are doing is like we are creating a object. Okay, we are creating this object. Okay, object is nothing but execution. So once we created the object, within the object, the memory will allocate for that particular variables. Okay, so for example, what is our like object? Give me a minute, I will like the charger. So yeah, so what we are doing is like we have a plan. So this is the blueprint. For that blueprint, what we are doing is like we have created an object. We started the execution. So at that time we have an object. Once we create the object for instance variable, the memory will allocate. Whenever object is created, at that time the memory is allocated to that particular instance variable. So which is present inside the object. So what we need to do is like we need to call. For that we need this object name. Okay, object name. For that we need this object or object reference. So what we are doing is like we are creating that object reference and we are calling this variable. Are you getting right?
Yes.
Yeah. So generally, for example, we can consider this, for example, we have a pack, like pack of chocolates. Okay. Inside that we have like different kind of chocolates. Okay. So inside that there is a specific chocolates, we have a Alphenliebe chocolates, right? So inside that there is a different chocolates inside that bottle. So I want to, for everyone see that I want that Alpenliebe chocolate. So inside that we will put the hand and we will take that particular one chocolate only. So like that, whenever we are creating the object, so that object is accessing that particular variable, instance variable. Okay, what is an object? Object is an instance of variable. So sorry, instance of class. Okay, instance of class is nothing but object. So for that, like whenever we are creating that instance, we are accessing the instance variables. Okay. And one more thing I forgot to discuss with you, that is like whenever the object is created, the memory is allocated to the instance variables. Whenever object is created, the memory is allocated to the instance variables. Okay. And in the local variable, the memory is allocated whenever the method is called. Okay. So the instance variable is nothing but we will access the instance variable with the help of instance, or we can say with the help of object. Okay, or object reference, we can say. Okay, and let's say another example for object. So I want to access that particular variable only. So for that, what we need to do is like we need to write like new demo of dot test case count of, and we will do like semicolon. Okay, like this we can access. So we can say this as anonymous object. We can say this as anonymous object in the sense like whenever we are writing a new demo or new class name of, so at that time what will happen is like this is the anonymous because it don't have any reference. Okay, and one more thing, this anonymous object, okay, this anonymous object, we can access that particular variable, we can access that particular variable or method only one time whenever we are creating this anonymous object. Okay, and whenever we are creating this object reference like a demo obj equals to new demo, so we can access multiple times. Let's see the example. I'll write like instance variable example. So inside that I will write like main method. Okay, so here what I will do is like before this I will declare a variable int count equals to 10. Once I will declare this variable int count equals to 10, so I want to access this particular variable. We cannot access it directly. We have it two ways. One is object, and another one is like object reference. So first of all, I will create an object reference that is like instance variable example. I can say like in new instance variable example of. Okay, instance variable example in equals to new instance variable of. Okay, I've created an object. For that I will write like system.out.println. I can write in dot count. Okay, it is giving a suggestion. Okay, what I have told is like